Hey guys, it's Erin with Hand Stamp Style, and today I want to share with you one final storage tip that I have for you in regards to how to store your paper and cardstock and some of the ideas that I use. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I use here in my office and how that works for me, and then follow up with some additional ideas that might work if your space is smaller or larger than mine. And so hopefully I'll cover all the bases and be able to help everyone out there out just a little bit. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And let's go ahead and get started. Thanks so much for joining me. And we're going to start with a video.
Okay, so these are the paper storage cubes, I guess you could call them, that I actually use here in my office. I'm going to zoom out so you can see kind of where I've got them placed just in front of my workstation there. And they work really great. I'll tell you, before I had this room, I actually had them housed underneath the table. I had kind of the same setup. If you see that table back there, I had them housed under there, although I had two tables back to back, so I had a little bit more of lengthwise wall space. But let me just show you, excuse me, how these actually are set up. They have, the one thing I like about them, and I believe these are from, I never say this right, Crop Hopper, I think is who is, I'll put the link at the bottom of the video, but that's who I believe actually makes these. And I'm going to try this with the video on one hand and do this with the other hand. These actually pull out like that. They're not very light. And then it has like a wheel station underneath. And then, oh, this is heavy because I have lots and lots of paper in it. Okay. And the other thing I like is that they have these covers on them, which is great because it keeps dust and, you know, basically dust out of settling on the paper. And I find that it doesn't really, although I don't have it near like a natural light source, it helps to kind of prevent the fading of the one side of the cardstock. And then I just have 8.5 by 11 hanging folders in here. These are my smaller ones, and so I have all my cardstock divided by color in this one and in this one as well. And I have them divided out by color family. So that seems to work a little bit better. Now, like I said, these are my 8.5 by 11 ones. If you can see, those are my 12 by 12s right next to it. And the containers are a little bit bigger. I found them on Amazon. Actually, years ago, I bought those two 12 by 12s, and that's what I had forever. And then just recently, I bought the 8.5 by 11s because I really like how the storage works. I used to go to, and I plan on doing it again, but I haven't, retreats. And it was nice because I could kind of take my cardstock with me in these things and throw them in my car, and they were just easy for transportation. Now in these, I have all my 12 by 12s in the little folders also. I have just the different whatevers. I don't really have these organized very well just yet. These are all my like pattern papers, and then my solid cardstocks are in this one. And that's kind of how that works. Now they also come with, although I don't really have many of them attached, they come with, let's see if you can see, that little folder, I guess you can call it, wall hanger, and they technically go on the front and the back. I don't particularly like them because I tend to walk into them in the front, so I don't have them. But I like how they all match because I'm kind of anal retentive, and it works really well for me. So if you are short on storage space, and you know, if I was really, really hard up for space, I could actually slide two of these under my actual work table, and I could slide two more underneath the table behind me. I have done that before, and because I don't sit at this actual work table, it would work actually really well. So that's, you know, something to consider, is that they really don't take up a lot of space when you've got something that you can put them underneath. And so that's what I use. Now let me show you a couple of different ideas that you could use depending on the kind of space that you have.
So the first alternative paper storage system that I have for you is this lateral, almost like a scrapbook store display type unit. Really is more for the person who has quite a bit of space in their actual craft room, because it does take up a little bit of space. You can't really hide it under a table, and it's going to take up some of your floor space. So if you've got a nice large room, this is a great option for you. It's out where you can see it. It lays flat versus one of the things I forgot to talk about with those hanging files that I use is that if your containers are not completely full, packed to the gills like mine are, then sometimes your cardstock will start to curl or bend because it's got quite a bit of space in there. Unless you are really good at keeping your folders, closed, because if they're left open, gravity takes over and the cardstock starts to curl. So with this particular system, you don't have to worry about that. The paper lays flat, and it's a great option. And then next we have what I would consider, I used this for quite a while when I first started into paper crafting, because my room was very tiny that I had to work with. This is a storage system that works great for those small spaces. It's portable, which is nice. And however, the drawback is that it only fits 8.5 by 11 paper. I don't believe that I have found these anywhere that actually fit the 12 by 12 paper. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But if you're only, storing the 8.5 by 11 cardstock, this is a great option for you. It's got a little handle. You buy the little folders that actually fit inside and they slide up and down, and it works just great. Then next we have this system, and my cousin actually used this for quite a while. In fact, she might still use it. I'm not exactly sure. And these are just those big, Rubbermaid makes them. I'm trying to think. Sterilite, I believe, makes them too. They're large plastic storage containers, and you can find the just the generic hanging files that go everywhere. And they have this little lip. I don't know if you can see on the sides of the container. They have this little lip that the folders actually fit inside of, and they slide up and down. And this works great. She can stack these on top of each other because they all come with little lids, and they're fairly long. I think she has all of her main color families in them, the 4 main color families in them, maybe possibly more. It's been a while since I've been in her craft room and looked around, but it works great. The only thing is that it doesn't have wheels on it. She can't roll it in and out. But as far as storage goes, it's a great option for storage. Especially if you're in a small space, say you need to store it under a table or some other type of surface, it would be great for that. And then finally, I found this option, and I'm actually considering getting this. I'm still toying with it a little bit for the simple fact that I would probably need quite a few of them, and I'm not exactly sure where I would put them, but I love this option. I can't remember the name of the company that makes this, but you'll see it there on the video. And you mount it to the wall and it hangs. It saves so much space. The only drawback that I can see for this particular system is that, one, it doesn't hold a ton, so you would need quite a few of these if you had, a lot of the color families. The only other drawback is that it doesn't protect from, say, dust. So, if you're not using these, your cardstock every day or quite often, there's a chance that it could gather some dust. Now, whether or not that damages the cardstock, I'm not 100% on because mine's covered, so I've never had to deal with it. But, that's something to keep in mind. However, if you have a storage space that is really, or not a storage space, but a crafting space that is really tiny, and you really need to watch, how much items, how many things that you're actually putting in your space, how much floor space you're actually giving up, this is a great alternative. So there's some options for you, things to keep in mind, and hopefully one of these will work great for you if you don't already have a system that works well for you now. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them here at the with the post. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a great one, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.